Hey, you're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast. My name's Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Following up is not an option when it comes to sales, regardless of whatever stage it is. I find so many salespeople, what they do is they really only get into the follow up process when the customer's close to buying. Boy, you're missing out on a lot of sales. Let's unpack this. Let's dive into it in this episode of the Sales Hunter podcast.
You're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast with Mark Hunter, where the focus is to help you as a sales leader sell with confidence and integrity. And now here's your host.
There's a reason why I have the expression, don't start what you can't finish. And I find this to be a huge issue when it comes to sales and especially prospecting. You see, following up is not an option when it comes to sales. But the challenge is too many people start what they can't finish. Now, what do I mean by this? They start with a bunch of prospects. Oh, I'm going to reach out to all these prospects. But they don't have the bandwidth to stay in the game with them for 10, 15, even 20 times. Because every week they want to dump in another 20 or 30 prospects or 40 or 50 or whatever it might be. And you can't keep that pace up. I would rather have fewer prospects that I'm reaching out to, but being able to be more deliberate in following up with them than having too many prospects that I can't follow up. You see, one and done does not work. You see, here's the whole situation. Following up is where the sale is made. You know, there's been study after study after study that says, the average salesperson gives up after 2 times or something like that. And I truly do believe that. They do give up after a couple of times. And the sale is not made until 5, 6, 8, 10, 15, 20 times. So here's the situation. How many times are you following up? I have got prospects that I'm currently working right now that I have now reached out to probably about 10 or 12 times. And I'm continuing to read. I know I can help them. I know I can be of significant service to them. And I'm continuing to reach out. But here's the deal. I'm not reaching out to them saying, hey, buy for me. I'm reaching out to them by delivering value. I hope you've been listening to some of my other podcasts here where I've been talking about this because it's about delivering value. You see, when I deliver value, it keeps my head in the right space. You see, I'm not calling you time after time to say, buy for me, buy for me. I'm calling you time after time and giving you new information, giving you new insights. Now, along the way, I build a level of trust. I build a level of respect. I build a relationship. And it ultimately becomes a sale. If you listen to a podcast a few weeks ago, I shared this story of the salesperson who had to reach out to me dozens and dozens of times to get me to buy a new marketing system. And it worked. You see, here's the situation. Following up is where the sale is made. Following up is not nagging. Following up is not putting yourself in a bad light. No, following up is doing them a favor because, again, you can help them. The key here is to have a cadence. The key here is to have a process. This is where your CRM system really comes into play. I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I have a cadence for my prospects? In other words, do I have a logical, methodical process of this is some of the information that I share. One of the easiest ways to do this is I'll go out and I find timely insights, timely information happening in their industry, happening in their space. And I can email them or call them and ask them about it. And I tie that back into the fact that I'm trying to have a conversation with them. I'd like to get their opinion on it. I want to get some insight from them. But you have to be continuously doing this with your prospects. Because otherwise what happens is you fall out of their mindset. Or chances are you never got in their mindset to begin with because you made one call and you never reached out to them again. You've got to be deliberate and continuous in your calls. You see, sales is a busy profession. When I mean busy profession, it means we're reaching out to consumers who are being inundated with messages. And if you sit there and say, well, I don't want to follow up with them. Here's the closing question, the closing reason I have for you. How many times have you heard or seen an ad for Coca-Cola? Now, everybody knows what Coca-Cola is. Everybody knows. Yet why is it that they spend so much money on advertising of all forms, all types? You see Coca-Cola signs all over the place. And why is this? Because they have to be continuously reinforcing in your mind the message to have a Coca-Cola. Now, if Coca-Cola does this with the brand name that they have, doesn't it make sense that you probably have to do the same thing? Yes, you do. Following up is not an option when it comes to sales. Hey, my name's Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. This is the Sales Hunter podcast. My goal each week, bring you 2 episodes. One, a short one like this. Second one, a longer form where you do a deep dive with an expert. What is it about? It's about helping you see and achieve what you didn't think was possible. Because when I help you see and achieve what you didn't think was possible, you in turn are going to be able to help your customers see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. Remember, don't start what you can't finish. I'm going to challenge you to narrow your prospecting list so you can spend more time with fewer prospects. Hey, the Sales Hunter podcast. Leave me a review, would you please, on your favorite podcast app, and make sure you subscribe to it and check out all the episodes. I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter.